Here you go.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to be talking about the first of our 3 products from our Pulse Esprita line. And the product that we're going to be talking about today is BP9, which is our blood pressure formula. And just a reminder that when we are looking at any of our Esprita products, the number that you're seeing after the BP in this case, the 9, this is really highlighting how many ingredients we have inside our product. And so we're going to be going through all of those ingredients today and explaining why they are so critical in our blood pressure formulation. But first, we are just going to talk a little bit about what blood pressure is and why it is important for us to be looking at regulating our blood pressure. So firstly, blood pressure is basically the force of blood around our circulatory system. So really, blood pressure can be an issue if it is too high or if it's too low. It could be either or. And the problem with high blood pressure, for example, is that in this case, this happens when the pressure on our arteries or our blood vessels becomes too high. And this can lead to the arterial walls becoming distorted, which of course is an issue. So problems with blood pressure can damage organs, and it can lead to issues such as vision loss, stroke, heart attack, or heart failure. And monitoring your blood pressure and maintaining healthy levels can, of course, enhance quality of life and improve longevity. So next slide, we are going to be looking at blood pressure categories and where they fall. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so blood pressure categories here. So in the green here, we have our normal blood pressure levels, and this is what you are aiming for. So looking at systolic and diastolic blood pressure levels. So just quickly to explain what those 2 words mean. So systolic blood pressure is the amount of pressure exerted against arterial walls when the heart contracts, so during a heartbeat. And then diastolic blood pressure levels is the amount of pressure exerted against the arterial walls when the heart is relaxed. So basically between heartbeats. And both of these numbers are important. So in the normal range, we have anything below 120 for systolic and then below 80 for diastolic. And then as you go down the chart here, you can see where levels start to become a problem. So elevated levels are already considered between 120 to 129 for systolic, still below 80 for diastolic. And then we're looking at the various levels of hypertension. So if you go visit your doctor, they will give you kind of, a stage, whether you're stage 1, stage 2, or something that's considered a crisis level. So you can see stage 1, 130 to 139 is already considered stage 1 hypertension, and then 80 to 89 for diastolic. And then going down, you're really in crisis when you are above 180. And then for systolic and above 120 for diastolic. So these are all values to look out for, and, making sure that you are checking your blood pressure levels, before you, or every time you go and visit your doctor. So just looking at our blood pressure formula here and what it entails. So our blood pressure formula is, it's a 30-day supply from our Esprita Pulse line, and it's formulated with heart healthy herbal extracts, vitamins, and Natacol 1000 marine collagen to support blood pressure levels naturally. So it's made to promote overall cardiovascular health naturally by taking just 1 capsule twice daily. So this can be done in the morning after your meal and at lunch, or in the morning and let's say dinner time after food. I would recommend after food, after the meal that you're having. And some of the key benefits would be supporting healthy blood pressure levels, promoting flexible, relaxed blood vessels, helping support and maintain overall cardiovascular health naturally. The phytonutrient-rich herbal extracts in the formula help support and maintain healthy circulation. The formula has cardioprotective properties and provides antioxidants, and many of the phytonutrients in this formula have a cleansing effect on the arteries, which is very important for blood pressure, and we'll get into that later in the slide. So just something that I want to mention as well, and why it's so important to be looking out for your blood pressure levels, and why this is an issue that we should really be talking about, is really because high blood pressure is an important risk factor for cardiovascular disease. And it is attributed to an estimated 70%, about 70% of heart attacks, strokes, and chronic heart failure. And it leads to 37% of cardiovascular deaths in Western countries and 13.5 globally. So it is something that is a global issue. So it's in Western countries, for example, hypertension does affect 30% of adults, with 68 million adults in the United States alone. So these are quite high numbers. And although the management of blood pressure in family practice has increased in the past 20 years, a large proportion of adults still have uncontrolled blood pressure, and 9% have untreated blood pressure, with another half not being able to achieve optimal control. And something that is important to note as well is that blood pressure can be manageable with lifestyle adjustments. So before going to medications, you can change certain parts of lifestyle to be able to lower blood pressures naturally. Part of that being supplementation, of course, and other parts being lifestyle choices, which we will talk about as well. But discussing the why, the who, and the ask. So why would you consider taking BP9? Who is BP9 specially formulated for? And then the 3 questions to ask to see if BP9 might be for you. So the why, first of all. So number 1, if you are looking for a natural product that helps to maintain healthy blood pressure levels through addressing various aspects of health. And so the reason why I'm saying various aspects of health is because there are various contributors to why blood pressure levels might become elevated. And this formula helps address it from more than one avenue. Number 2, if you are routinely dealing with stressful situations in your life that are impacting your heart health, because stress does lead to elevated blood pressure levels. If you are finding it harder to maintain healthy blood pressure levels due to daily physical, mental, emotional, and environmental stressors, and would like to incorporate supplements as part of a more holistic approach, and if heart health is a concern in your family. So these are some of the reasons why you might consider trying this product. Who is BP9 developed for? So firstly, individuals who are looking for a natural product that works with their bodily systems to improve heart health without any undesirable side effects. Individuals who are looking to improve heart function, both structurally and functionally, through a more holistic approach. Individuals who are dealing with consistent stress, whether environmentally, physically, emotionally, or mentally, and are seeing an impact on their blood pressure levels. And individuals who may have a history of blood pressure concerns within the family. And lastly, the 3 questions that you might want to ask yourself to see if this is the right product for you or for someone that you care about. So question number 1, are my blood pressure levels above the healthy range for my age group? And so now that we've discussed what that range is, you know for yourself whether it's a concern or not. Number 2, am I looking for a natural holistic product that I can incorporate into a more conscious daily routine to support blood pressure levels and heart health? And number 3, am I looking for a blood pressure product with no side effects, with a focus on promoting a healthy, thriving cardiovascular system versus only mitigating disease? And so this is kind of the difference, where our supplements are looking at supporting heart health versus, with medications, oftentimes we are taking that medication when the problem has already arrived, and it might take more time and more effort to reverse the negative effects. Okay, and then looking at our 9 active ingredients, which we will be discussing in more detail in the presentation today. So number 1 is vitamin B6 in the form of pyroxidine. Number 2, we have folic acid, and that is in the form of folate. So Esprita has changed over our folic acid to the more bioavailable and bioactive version of folic acid, or vitamin B9, which is folate. Number 3, garlic extract. Number 4, celery seed extract. Number 5, Natacol 1000 marine collagen. Number 6, olive leaf extract. Number 7, cassia extract, otherwise known as cinnamon. number 8, hawthorn, and number 9, holy basil. Okay, so we are going to be looking at folic acid first, which is vitamin B9. And again, we have it in our bioavailable form, which is folate. Okay, and so, or sorry, we're going to be starting with vitamin B6 first. So vitamin B6, so this is a vitamin that is responsible for many important processes in the body. And one of these is regulating blood pressure levels. So it does so in various different ways, but one way that it is able to do this is by regulating the levels of sodium and potassium in the blood, as well as a hormone called angiotensin, which is a hormone that causes blood vessels to constrict. And B6 also helps your body absorb magnesium, which may help to regulate blood pressure because it keeps your arteries from hardening and it keeps your heart rhythm regular. So studies in the past have shown that even a moderate deficiency in B6 can lead to hypertension, and this is through both central and peripheral mechanisms. So if we're looking centrally, B6 does play a key role in calcium transport and serotonin production. And so when we're looking, for example, at calcium transport in the body, so this is significantly impacts our blood pressure levels. And this is why one of the conventional medications that might be prescribed for high blood pressure is calcium channel blockers. And the reason for this is that muscle contraction is actually largely dependent upon influx of calcium. So the inhibition of this of calcium in the system causes relaxation, particularly in the blood vessels and arteries. So the major effect then of calcium channel blockers would be the relaxation of the vascular and arterial smooth muscle cells, which would result in vasodilation. And when we're saying vasodilation, we're talking about the relaxation of blood vessels. So if calcium is causing blood vessels to constrict, the opposite, the lack of presence would be causing them to relax. So B6 does play a key role in that. And then serotonin production, this is significant. Not only does it impact serotonin production, it also influences catecholamines like adrenaline and noradrenaline, which all impact blood pressure levels. So in this way, it's responsible for reducing blood pressure levels by regulating the peripheral nervous system. So also decreased B6 levels have been associated with increased levels of C-reactive protein, otherwise known as CRP. And CRP is an indicator of inflammation, which is also a contributing factor to high blood pressure. So inflammation is actually one of the most important contributing factors to high blood pressure. And so C-reactive protein, you can get this test with your doctor and you can see what the levels of inflammation are in your body. And so by being able to mitigate inflammation, you're able to also lower blood pressure levels. And vitamin B6 is one of the vitamins that contributes to this. It's considered to be an antioxidant as well, which helps to lower inflammation in the body. So next we have folate, which is vitamin B9. And again, this is the bioactive form of it, or the bioavailable form. And so it's believed to help blood vessels relax, to improve blood flow through the vessels and arteries, and also to reduce the risk of high blood pressure. So many studies have been done to prove the effectiveness of folate in this area. And so one particular study done looking at the impact of dietary folate on blood pressure in women showed that a folate-rich diet alone reduces a young woman's risk of high blood pressure by almost a third, and to a lesser but still noticeable degree in older women. And in previous studies, vitamin B6 together with B9 or folic acid were shown to reduce both systolic and diastolic blood pressure levels in adults in randomized trials. So one thing that's important to also note here, and we've talked about this before, is that many vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients, they work synergistically. So in this situation, it's the same. Vitamin B6 and B9, they do both have very positive effects on blood pressure levels and cardiovascular health independently, but they work even better and enhance the benefits of each other when they are working together. So this is why oftentimes you will see these two together when looking at blood pressure formulas or cardiovascular health formulas. Okay, so going on and adding to that point, in a study done in China for both men and women, the highest quartile of B6 intake was also associated with the lowest incidence of hypertension. And the same was found when looking at the highest quartile of B6 and B9 together and in regards to their relationship with hypertension. So really, it's the two working together that can help with vasodilation of blood vessels, can help with regulating stress levels within the body, which lowers blood pressure, can help boost antioxidant presence in the body, which also helps to lower blood pressure. So really, it's important to have a formula that has both. And then the next thing that or the next marker that both B6 and folate act on together is homocysteine levels. And studies have shown that elevated plasma homocysteine levels have also been proven as an independent risk factor for both high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. They've been shown to cause oxidative stress and endothelial dysfunction, which leads to vascular constriction, so the constriction of blood vessels, to stiffness, and a decrease in the by nitric oxide. And we're going to talk about nitric oxide a little bit more further on because it is quite important. But all of these things result in increased blood pressure. So monitoring and lowering your homocysteine levels will also help with your cardiovascular health. And taking pyroxetine in combination with folate has been shown to be effective in lowering homocysteine levels. So they both work quite well together for this purpose. So the next ingredient that we're looking at is garlic extract, which is coming from the bulb. So garlic is a plant in the allium family, and it's closely related to onions, shallots, and leeks. It's been well documented by many major civilizations, including the Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, and Chinese, for its health benefits. So historically, it's been used for its anti-infective activities, for immune boosting properties, and for general strengthening actions. In vitro and cell culture studies have shown garlic to have antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and antiparasitic properties. So you might see garlic in a lot of other formulas that don't necessarily relate to heart health. But even with immune boosting properties, with having a strong immune system can also benefit your heart health. It's also known as a prebiotic, containing fructans and oligosaccharides, which stimulate the growth of friendly bacteria in the digestive tract. And we have seen studies that have connected blood pressure levels to gut health. Generally, the healthier your gut is and the more bacteria you have in your gut, the healthier your blood pressure levels are as well. So having a healthy gut, having prebiotics to support healthy gut function will also help to support your blood pressure levels. And garlic and its preparations have also been widely recognized as agents for prevention and treatment of cardiovascular and other metabolic diseases, such as atherosclerosis, hyperlipidemia, thrombosis, hypertension, and diabetes. And often when you're looking at cardiovascular health, you will see the presence of all of these kind of illnesses or diseases clustering together. So oftentimes if there's atherosclerosis, there's hyperlipidemia, or if there's atherosclerosis, there's hypertension and possibly diabetes. So generally they often come together. So working on one will help to also positively benefit the other. Okay, so in continuation, garlic extract is shown to lower blood pressure levels in hypertensive patients, similar to first-line standard antihypertensive medications. So it's been seen in studies to have the same effects with none of the side effects that these medications would have. It contains several potent active sulfur compounds, and the primary one is allicin, which is known to be very cardioprotective. So these compounds lower blood pressure through two mechanisms of action. So one of them is the stimulation of nitric oxide and also hydrogen sulfide production. So nitric oxide is stimulated in the body to help to release and widen your blood vessels, which improves blood flow and reduces blood pressure. So hydrogen and then hydrogen 2 sulfide or hydrogen sulfide has been reported to modulate endothelium relaxing and constricting factors. So endothelium relaxing means the relaxing of vessels, and then constricting factors means the constriction. And obviously when a vessel is constricted, there's a lot more pressure with blood trying to flow through the vessel, and this could lead to high blood pressure. So we don't want constriction to be there, or constriction to be too high. So this would lead, the presence of hydrogen sulfide would lead to blood pressure reduction. And we see its impact on both systolic and diastolic blood pressure in hypertensive patients. And then also garlic extract has shown similar properties to ACE inhibitors, which is another medication that can be given for blood pressure or to modulate blood pressure. And this, it does so by inhibiting the production of an angiotensin 2 in the body. So generally we have this hormone called angiotensin, and its conversion to angiotensin 2 is what leads to constriction of blood vessels. And so oftentimes people struggling with blood pressure issues will be given this inhibitor because it's preventing the conversion to angiotensin 2, which is preventing constriction of blood vessels. The protective effect of garlic on atherosclerosis has been attributed to its capacity to reduce lipid content in the arterial wall, as well as to suppress LDL oxidation. So LDL is low density lipoproteins, and this is a type of cholesterol that is considered to be, it's been labeled the bad cholesterol. None of the cholesterols are, let's say, bad, but when you have a high level of LDL cholesterol in your system, it's considered to be a little bit more dangerous. And this type of cholesterol oxidates more easily, which causes more inflammation in your arteries. So this is why, reducing the level of LDL cholesterol and also being able to suppress oxidation is quite important for heart health. And studies have also found that garlic is effective in normalizing blood cholesterol levels. So again, we do want to have cholesterol in our bodies because it does serve a lot of very important functions, but we don't want to have very high levels of cholesterol, especially high levels of LDL cholesterol. So a meta-analysis of 39 trials and 2,300 participants have shown an improvement in total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol levels in adults with slightly elevated levels at baseline. So garlic does help with regulating cholesterol levels. And the compounds in garlic are also known to have blood thinning properties, which can help with blood clotting and thrombosis. And these compounds can also interfere with platelet function by altering thromboxane production. So really, blood viscosity is also a very important marker of heart health. We don't want our blood to be too viscous, which means it becomes quite thick. And when blood is thick, the heart has to work a lot harder to pump that blood through the system. And when blood is thick, there's a chance that it might start to clot throughout certain parts of the vessels or arteries. So blood thinning can be very helpful in reducing blood pressure levels, because again, when the heart is pumping very hard to get thick blood through, this can also elevate blood pressure levels. So our next ingredient in our BP9 formula is celery seed extract. And celery is a member of the umbelliferous family, along with parsley, fennel, and carrots. And the celery that we see today originated from wild celery native to the Mediterranean, where its seeds were once highly valued as medicine. So you can kind of see with a lot of our ingredients that we have in our formulas, in this formula in particular, since we're talking about it, these are kind of ancient natural ingredients that have been used by many different societies for thousands of years to support optimal health. So they are quite tried and tested and true. So in certain systems of alternative medicine, such as Ayurveda, celery seed has been used to treat anxiety, colds, flus, arthritis, gout, insomnia, high cholesterol, and hypertension. And it's also been used to stimulate digestion and to enhance liver health. And what makes celery seed so special is that it's known as a diuretic. And diuretics can be helpful in regulating blood pressure because they help increase the flow of urine, which can reduce water and sodium levels in the body. So reducing sodium levels has been one suggested method of lowering blood pressure, right? So we're looking at ratios of sodium to potassium in the body, and when sodium levels are high, this can also lead to increased pressure on the vessels and the arteries with blood flowing through. But at the same time, the root causes of blood pressure are not always simply attributed to high sodium levels. It's just a part of the picture. Okay, so we have this really unique ingredient here that makes celery seed extract so special. So it's called 3N-butyl phthalate, and short form for that is 3NB. And this is the compound in celery that has been most studied for its medicinal properties. It is unique to celery, and it's responsible for its characteristic flavor and odor. And it was first identified as the compound responsible for celery's blood pressure lowering effects by the University of Chicago Medical Center. So 3MB seems to have many of the same mechanisms of action as conventional drugs given to lower blood pressure. So it acts both as a diuretic and a vasodilator. So again, relaxing vessels, as well as working in a manner similar to calcium channel blockers. So generally, to treat high blood pressure, doctors will prescribe diuretics or water pills to reduce the fluid volume in your blood, and vasodilators to relax the arteries, right? So if we have lower fluid volume and more space for the fluid to flow through, this will reduce the resistance to blood flow, and it will allow more blood to flow through. So you're almost thinking of it like if you have a garden hose, for example, and if you are turning on your tap, or you're turning on, the faucet for the water to flow through, if you turn it on too fast and a lot of water squirts out right away, if let's say you have a thin hose, it's going to put a lot of pressure on that hose, and perhaps, the hose might erupt. Whereas if you have a thicker hose and less fluid volume, the water will flow through the hose in a lot more easily, in a more relaxed manner. So this is the same visual that you can have with your fluid volume in your vessels, and the relaxation or the size of the vessel. Okay, and next, sodium retention can lead to increased fluid volume in the blood, while hardening of the arteries and hormones released during stress lead to loss of flexibility or constriction of blood vessels. So we don't want hardened blood vessels as much as we don't want too much fluid, because the blood vessels will then become very rigid, and anything that is rigid or hard has an easier chance of breaking. So helping to lower fluid volume and dilate vessels will naturally reduce blood pressure levels. Celery seed extract has also been shown to shows benefit over conventional diuretics because it doesn't alter the sodium to potassium ratio in the blood, which can lead to dangerous side effects. Conventional blood pressure medications can also lower blood flow to the brain, which is helpful in preventing strokes, but it can leave people feeling dizzy, depressed, and forgetful. Whereas celery seed extract has been shown to not only help prevent strokes, but also to improve blood flow and protect the brain and enhance brain energy production in a similar manner to ginkgo biloba. So it has the benefit of lowering the blood pressure, but at the same time still allowing the heart to get enough blood flow in order for, the brain to get enough blood flow in order to be able to function optimally. It also has been shown in animal studies and test tube studies to lower cholesterol levels and to reduce the formation of arterial plaque. And so this is really significant because the more plaque we have in our arteries, the less space blood has to flow through, and this will again increase pressure. And this effect may help increase the elasticity of blood vessels. So again, hardened plaque makes blood vessels less elastic, and so less healthy, and it also lowers blood pressure levels. And lastly, studies have shown a decrease of blood glucose levels in male rats when treated with celery seed extract. So a lot of benefits there relating to heart health. And as you can see, again, approaching the situation from many different angles as opposed to just, one particular area where there might be an issue. So our next ingredients that we have here is the Natacol 1000 marine collagen. So collagen is very important. It is the most abundant protein in the body. It makes up 75% of the skin structure, and it's also found in the bone, the muscle, and the ligament structure. And it plays a major role in strength, elasticity, and firmness of the skin. And as we age, natural collagen production does decrease. So Natacol is a high quality and researched fish collagen. It's produced from fish skins through a unique enzymatic hydrolysis process, and it's extracted from wild fish from sustainable fishing areas. So collagen promotes heart health by providing structure to the arteries. So without adequate structural support, arteries will become weak, stiff, and inflexible. And all of these states are linked with a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes. So really keeping healthy, flexible arteries is so important to heart health. So having proper structure to your arteries also contributes to blood flowing to and from the heart optimally, because when arteries stiffen and plaque deposits narrow artery walls, it becomes much harder for blood to flow easily, and this increases the risk of high blood pressure. And in addition, it also increases the risk of issues like inflammation, because high plaque in the arteries can also cause for there to be inflammation in the arteries as well. So the benefits of a marine collagen that has undergone hydrolysis is that the collagen gets broken down into more digestible collagen peptides, and this allows for maximum bioavailability and effectiveness. So you are looking, generally when purchasing a collagen, even on its own, you are looking for a hydrolyzed collagen for this purpose. You can get maximum benefit and usage out of the collagen. Marine collagen can help the skin and tissues to repair themselves. Trauma to healthy tissues causes the growth of thick fibrous tissues at the wound site, and this is what is known as scar tissue. And blood vessel injury is very common in individuals with atherosclerosis, so collagen can help with the repair of this injury. Not only does taking collagen daily reduce the stiffness of arteries, but it also increases HDL cholesterol levels, which this is known technically as the good cholesterol. So if you have higher levels of HDL cholesterol, this is generally preferred in the body. And in one study, daily collagen intake significantly improved LDL to HDL ratios, boosted protective HDL levels, and reduced markers of atherosclerosis. And to expand on that a little bit more, so the balance of harmful LDL cholesterol to beneficial HDL cholesterol is a well-known predictor of cardiovascular health. So this is something, again, that you can always check when going to see your doctor, what your levels are. And if your LDL levels become too high over time, it can lead to the formation of plaque inside the lining of the arterial walls. And this is one of the leading causes of atherosclerosis. So research suggests that taking collagen not only improves cholesterol balance in the body, but also decreases total cholesterol. It lowers triglycerides, which are fats linked with higher levels of cardiovascular disease, and prevents and treats the buildup of plaque on artery walls. So what is key here as well is that we are talking about maintaining cholesterol balance. We are not talking about, preventing the creation of cholesterol by our bodies, because our bodies do need to create cholesterol. It has a lot of important health benefits, but we want to make sure that we are working on cholesterol balance so that our LDL cholesterol levels do not become too high. So collagen can also help boost levels of nitric oxide. And so we have talked about the importance of that already. It's a compound that enhances blood flow and it lowers blood pressure through the dilation of blood vessels. And collagen may also be beneficial to heart health by inhibiting inflammatory chemicals that play a role in the development of heart disease. And glycine is one amino acid that's found in collagen that helps to mitigate inflammation. Our next ingredient here is olive leaf extract. And olive leaf is another very beneficial natural ingredient that has been used since ancient times to treat a variety of conditions. So since the 19th century, its suggested benefits have covered everything from diabetes to hypertension to compromised immunity, infection, and inflammation. And so again, you might see olive leaf in a variety of different kind of formulas, not always related to heart health. So olives have a significant amount of monounsaturated and diunsaturated fatty acids, polyphenolic antioxidants, and vitamins. And so one of the really helpful ingredients or compounds here is allopurin. And this is the main glycoside found in unprocessed leaves and fruit, which gives immature leaves their bitter taste. So chemically, this phenolic compound possesses beneficial effects on heart health and health in general. It's known to be an antioxidant. It's known to be anti-atherogenic, anti-ischemic, anti-inflammatory, and it also has antimicrobial properties. So studies have shown that regular consumption of phenol-rich foods is inversely associated with cardiovascular disease. So the more you eat any phenol-rich food, the more likely you are to have a healthy heart, obviously by pairing it with other healthy lifestyle choices as well. And so this particular compound is known to inhibit blood platelet aggregation. And so this, when your blood platelets aggregate, this is when you have what is known as sticky blood. And when blood becomes sticky, again, it's harder for it to flow through your cardiovascular system effectively. And this is also where you might start to have instances of blood clotting. Okay, and so it's also known as a potent antioxidant. It inhibits LDL oxidation and effectively scavenges free radicals, which decreases systemic inflammation. And this is so important to health throughout the body, but also to heart health. And one of the first causes of atherosclerosis is lipid oxidation, particularly oxidation of LDL cholesterol. And LDL oxidation leads to activation of immune cells that migrate to the vessel cell wall, as well as expression of adhesion molecules that make platelets sticky. And so these events contribute to plaque formation. So again, we want to focus on lowering LDL cholesterol in our body while maintaining high HDL cholesterol. And we want to make sure that we are maintaining a high level of antioxidants in order to lower the occurrence of lipid oxidation in the body. So olive leaf extracts lowers blood pressure by blocking calcium channels and also the angiotensin converting enzyme, which we mentioned in previous slides. So the conversion of angiotensin to angiotensin 2. The next ingredient that we are looking at here is cassia extract coming from the bark. So cassia is a form of cinnamon, and it's a type of cinnamon that's prepared from the dried inner bark of an evergreen tree that grows in areas of Southeastern Asia. So although Ceylon cinnamon is also used as a spice in North America, cassia cinnamon is the most commonly used variety of cinnamon. And people take cassia cinnamon by mouth for blood sugar support. So you might see it in a lot of blood sugar formulas, for flatulence, for muscle and stomach spasms, for preventing nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, infections, cramps, high blood pressure, and the common cold. So it's got so many different benefits. And its vasorelaxant properties seem to be a result of cinnamaldehyde. So this is a compound found in cinnamon that has been shown to inhibit L-type calcium channels, having the same effect as calcium channel blockers. It is also said to promote the production of nitric oxide, which also contributes to the relaxation and dilation of blood vessels. So studies have found that the vascular endothelium of hypertensive patients produces less nitric oxide. So we're talking about basically the muscle cells of our blood vessels and our arteries. So nitric oxide acts as an anti-atherogenic agent by inhibiting LDL oxidation, platelet aggregation, adhesion molecule expression, and the adhesion of monocytes to the endothelium. So this extract has also been said to have insulin mimetic or mimicking and sensitizing action. So this is why it's so good for supporting blood sugar levels as well. It plays a significant role in phosphorylation of signaling proteins and enhancement of expression of insulin-sensitive glucose transporters, which results in the mitigation of insulin resistance. So basically what that is trying to say there is that we want to make the cells, the insulin cells in our body sensitive to glucose, because that is what keeps our blood pressure levels balanced. When our muscle cells and when our pancreas cells start to lose insulin sensitivity, our body does not recognize the presence of glucose within the body, and we start to have to create more insulin in order to be able to balance blood sugar levels. So we do want to have insulin sensitive cells. And then lastly, nitric oxide produced in the pancreatic islets participates in the synthesis and secretion of insulin. So we want to be able to create insulin. We want to be able to secrete insulin in a healthy manner. So this can decrease insulin resistance, which has also been shown in studies to lead to hypertension. And it also decreases plasma glucose levels. Okay, so the next ingredient we're looking at here for heart health, and this has been a very well-studied heart health ingredient, is hawthorn extract, and it's coming from the fruit. And hawthorn is a thorny shrub that grows commonly in northern temperate regions around the world. Typically, the leaf and flower, berry, or a combination of all three are consumed as a powder, a tea, or a liquid extract. And its therapeutic use is reported as early as 1st century BCE, with references to its use in cardiovascular diseases dating back to as early as the 1600s. And so hawthorn extract contains flavonoids and OPCs as the primary bioactive components responsible for mediating blood pressure. And through the release of these compounds, the vascular endothelium of our vessels releases more nitric oxide, which leads to enhanced dilation of the blood vessels. And so the properties of these potent flavonoids and OPCs are also like the angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. So the ACE inhibitors that you will receive from your primary healthcare physician. And this is a class of medications that works by slowing the activity of ACE so that it can't convert angiotensin to angiotensin 2, which is an extremely powerful vessel constrictor. And so again, if your vessels are very constricted, then your heart has to work really hard to pump blood through, and there's going to be a lot more pressure on the vessels and the arteries as your blood is flowing through them. So we don't want constriction to be too high, and we don't want it to be too frequent. So ACE may be overactive in people with arterial disease, which will cause blood pressure to rise. ACE inhibitors work by relaxing the blood vessel walls to lower blood pressure, and they also help protect heart cells from oxidizing. And oxidation, again, leads to inflammation. Hawthorn extract also has properties like calcium channel blockers. By blocking calcium channels in the muscles of the heart and blood vessels, this prevents calcium levels from rising in the cells when stimulated, leading to a decrease in cardiac contractility, which is systolic pressure, and in blood vessels, less contraction of the vascular smooth muscles leads to an increase in vasodilation, which is diastolic. So it's working both on systolic pressure and diastolic pressure in this way, which is important for healthy blood pressure levels. And due to hawthorn being a rich source of antioxidants, it can neutralize free radicals, leading to a decrease in inflammation, and inflammation is a contributing cause to both heart disease and diabetes. Some studies have also shown that hawthorn extract may improve blood cholesterol levels thanks to both its flavonoid and pectin content. So pectin is quite useful in cardiovascular health, in promoting cardiovascular health, because it's a type of fiber that is involved in cholesterol metabolism, helps our body to metabolize cholesterol more effectively, so we have less of it floating around in the body. So imbalanced cholesterol levels, specifically high triglycerides and low HDL levels, play a significant role in atherosclerosis. So we've already discussed this. This is the buildup of plaque in your blood vessels. In one animal study, mice that received 2 doses of hawthorn extract had lower total and LDL cholesterol, as well as 28 to 47% lower liver triglyceride levels compared with mice that did not receive the extract. So hawthorn has been shown in studies to have potent cardioprotective properties. It can both protect against cardiovascular disease, and it can restore the morphology and function of the blood and the hardened vessels after injury. So this is going back to looking at structure and function of the heart and cardiovascular system. We don't want just to have proper function, we want structure as well, and vice versa. They are both equally important. So the involved mechanisms include protecting vascular endothelial function, so the function of the blood vessels and arteries, regulating lipid metabolism, so how well our body breaks down fats, inhibiting platelet aggregation, alleviating ischemia injury, suppressing thrombosis, reducing oxidative stress, and attenuating inflammation. So it's working on all of these things at the same time. Hawthorn extract has also shown potential to treat hyperlipidemia. And so hyperlipidemia can lead to lipoprotein deposition inside the blood vessel, which induces oxidative stress and the formation of oxidized low-density lipoproteins. And this plays a key role in the development of atherosclerosis. And then the last ingredient that we have here is holy basil extract from the leaf. So holy basil is a medicinal plant that goes by many names. One of the most popular that you might have heard of before is Tulsi. So the name Tulsi means incomparable one. And in Western medicine, this plant is known as an adaptogen and is used to combat the negative effects of stress, to stabilize blood sugar, promote longevity, and protect the liver, heart, and brain. And medicinal preparations are generally made from the leaves, stems, and seeds of the plant. In Hinduism, holy basil is known as the mother medicine of nature, and since ancient times is believed to promote a healthy body, mind, and spirit. And it's an aromatic shrub that is believed to have originated in north central India. So this plant is quite popular in India, and as you can see, it's an adaptogen. It's popular for many things. So adaptogens generally they help our body to be able to deal with stress more effectively. And when we are in a stressed state, this does impact every aspect of our health. And this is why, you know, it helps to stabilize blood sugar. It helps with heart and brain health, because all of those aspects of our health are influenced when we are dealing with stress. And so today it is consumed primarily in supplement or tea form. So you might see holy basil teas in your local health shop, and you might see it in supplement form in a lot of different formulas. So even with adrenal formulas, you often will see holy basil. So there's a mounting research indicating Tulsi's efficacy in helping the body deal with physical, chemical, metabolic, and psychological stress. So this is important to note because stress on the body can come from a variety of different factors. It's not necessarily just mental stress. It can even be, for example, chemical stress, where we are dealing with environmental stressors outside of ourselves or even within ourselves. And so we want to be able to combat stress on every level. So it can counter metabolic stress through the normalization of blood glucose, blood pressure, and lipid levels, psychological stress through anxiolytic and antidepressant functions, which also impact blood pressure. And this is all due to its complex phytochemical makeup. This includes bioactive compounds like eugenol, ursolic acid, beta-caryophyllene, and 1,8-cineanol. So there's a lot of different flavonoids that are present in this extract that all are also acting as antioxidants. And these compounds can protect the organs and vessels from atherosclerosis, as well as enhance insulin secretion and action and lower cortisol levels, and the prevalence of which leads to increased contraction of heart muscles and blood being pumped through the vessels, leading to higher blood pressure levels. So cortisol levels on their own can significantly impact blood pressure levels, because this is going back to the whole idea of fight or flight, and how when we are in a stress state, our body believes that it needs to flee, it needs to run away. And so it's going to immediately pump blood to particular parts of the body, like our extremities, in order to help us to flee faster. And so if we are in a chronic state of stress, then our heart will continuously be pumping out this blood in order to help us, quote unquote, flee from something. And this will eventually lead to high blood pressure levels. So having something that also helps deal with stress is very efficient for healthy blood pressure. And last but not least, we are looking at lifestyle tips to manage blood pressure levels and to help with cardiovascular health. So first and foremost, as I always say, it's important to eat a whole foods diet with a variety of vitamins, minerals, and polyphenols. So potassium is one important mineral that helps support blood pressure balance. We don't generally get enough potassium in our foods as much as we do sodium, because sodium is found in a lot of different foods, especially processed. So it is important to eat foods high in potassium. And potassium can be found in foods like bananas, kiwi, sweet potatoes, and Swiss chard. And then polyphenols that are found in green tea and cacao have also been studied in their ability to reduce cardiovascular disease. The next tip would be to, as I already mentioned, limit your intake of processed foods. So these foods contain high levels of hidden sodium. So it's one thing to put salt on your food. We do need sodium in our diets in order for our body to function properly. But when we are eating processed foods, there are levels of sodium in there that are quite high, and we are not able to control how much sodium is in that food. It's already being controlled for us. So limiting intake in this way really helps with balancing your sodium levels. Processed foods are also full of inflammatory fats and additives. And as already mentioned in this presentation, managing inflammation is so important for cardiovascular health and for many other, health systemically throughout our body. Next, it's important to manage your stress. So this does not mean not to have any stress or to avoid stress completely, because that's not possible. But managing your stress means finding healthy ways to cope with stress when it comes up in your life. And this is important because not only does chronic stress lead to constant release of hormones that impact blood pressure, but it also leads to systemic inflammation in the body, which is a very high contributor to cardiovascular disease. It can also indirectly lead to blood pressure issues, since when we are stressed, we are more likely to eat unhealthy foods, drink alcohol in higher amounts, and or consume other unhealthy substances, and also sleep poorly. Okay, and then some other lifestyle tips to lower your blood pressure. So it is very important to prioritize sleep. Adequate sleep gives you time to rest and naturally lowers your blood pressure. It's important to limit your intake of caffeine and alcohol. Both substances are known to cause stress to the body. So even alcohol, I know we often drink alcohol to relax, but alcohol is not shown through studies to relax our system. It's actually shown to activate our system, and this will indirectly lead to raising blood pressure levels. Next, prioritize movement daily. So regular exercise makes your heart stronger, and a stronger heart can pump more blood with less effort, putting less force on your arteries and lowering your blood pressure levels. It is also a really great way to manage stress. So it has more than one mechanism of action. And then the very last tip, which I cannot emphasize more, is spending more time with people you love and engaging in activities that you love. This includes also practicing self-love. So in spiritual terms, and this is something I love to talk about, our heart chakra is located at our heart, and it's all about self-love, love for others, and experiencing joy. So if we are operating from a place of joy, and we are experiencing moments of joy often, we are contributing very significantly to our heart health, and that is not something that can be denied. So make sure that you are putting that into your daily routine as well. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you have any additional questions, or if you require any support from us, there is our email address there that you can reach. And we hope that you learned a lot from this presentation today.